So today, I want to talk about affirmations today. The topic today is affirmation transformation. And it has kind of two meanings. One is, of course, that affirmations will transform your life. But the other is that I want to transform the way we think about affirmations. Because some people have said, like, well, affirmations don't really work, right? And I'm like, no, that's not true. And what I realized is that for some people, when they say affirmation, they're thinking about the rote repetition of words. They're thinking that doesn't work if you just rotely repeat some words. And I would tend to agree with that, although even that could be powerful, right? Like when you got in trouble in school and you had to write on the blackboard, although those were negations usually, right? I will never do this again. I will never write on the schoolyard again or something. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about what it really means to do an affirmation and what it is to have a really effective affirmation, right? Because an effective affirmation, for one, it's in the present tense, right? It's in the now. If we start affirming, I will have something, then of course we're putting it into the future, and the future never arrives. The present moment of now is the only moment that there really is. And if we say, I will have something, then it says, and so it is. And it's always becomes something that will happen in the future and therefore never arrives. So an affirmation is always in the present tense, like, I have all the joy within me right now. All the joy that there is within me right now. All the power that there is within me right now. What's your affirmation? Someone tell me what your favorite affirmation is. What's your favorite affirmation that you use?
I am healthy, abundant, and whole.
I am healthy, abundant, and whole. I love it. I love it. Yes. That's the other aspect of them is they're short and sweet, right? They're short so we can really remember them, right? We can carry them around with us and repeat them all throughout the day. What else about affirmations? They're positive, right? We always frame them in the positive. So we wouldn't say, I am not this or I am not that. We would say, usually they say, I am, right? I am something. So one of the ways I think about affirmations is that it's like an actor going into character, right? So it's not just the rote repetition of words. We are actually becoming that which we are affirming. And so, like how an actor, if a good actor, you believe the character, right? Like you're not looking at the character when they're doing their role. You're not looking at the character and seeing the person who is actually doing it. You know what I mean? You're not seeing the actor and you're not seeing the acting. You actually believe that they are that person right now, yes? Yeah, a good actor. I remember, do you remember the movie Sophie's Choice with Meryl Streep? And she was playing a Polish woman. And I had happened to have, in Philadelphia, my first job, I worked in a supermarket. I worked in a supermarket in high school and all through college. And it helped put me through college. And the neighborhood I worked in was a neighborhood of a lot of Polish immigrants. So I knew very well what the Polish accent sounded like. I knew very well what it sounded like to speak Polish, and I knew very well sort of some of the cultural nuances of the Polish people. When I watched Meryl Streep in Sophie's Choice, I was just blown away because I'm like, she really became that. She really stepped in and became that person that she was playing. To me, that's what affirmations are like. We're not just rotely saying something. Like, my favorite one to play with is to say, like, I am a motivational speaker. I really am a motivational speaker. I am highly enthusiastic. I'm really excited. with affirmations, we're actually starting to become it. We may not feel it right away, right? It may start off like I was just doing, right? It may start off like that, right? Because we haven't yet embodied it. We haven't yet become it. So it might start off that way, and that's okay. But what we have to realize is that what we're getting to is becoming the very thing that we're affirming. So if I am affirming, when I first came into the teaching, I had my corporate career, and I was climbing the ladder, and I was successful, and I was doing all these great things, and I came into Science of Mind, and I got this really clear, energetic vibration moving in me that was so clear I couldn't ignore it, and it said, "You are done with that." And the beautiful thing about it, I say that now, I don't know if I thought that at the time, but it was without any direction or detail as to what I was to, it was just like, you're done with that. It was so clear, like that's over, and a new chapter is beginning, and it's going to be a really powerful chapter, and you are to follow it. And so when I left that corporate job that I had prepared for all that time, there was some things that occurred in my life, like my car, my beloved, luxury car that I got through all this success that I had, was repossessed. This was about 30 years ago, and here I am with a master's degree from MIT, and I was standing on the bus corner hoping no one would see me, waiting for the bus because I'm not supposed to be taking a bus. And it became this really fresh opportunity to learn about affirmations, because the appearance was that I was in lack. The appearance was that I didn't find my way right away. And so time went on and time went on, and there I was with the appearance of being broke. And at the same time, reading books by Catherine Ponder, like The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity and other prosperity books, I was reading and learning about the promises of the teaching. I was reading and learning about a higher truth of who I am and the situation. And so I would be just walking down the street, walking to the bus, and I would just be affirming, I am rich and prosperous. And believe you me, the first couple sentences of that, the first couple times of that, were not very believable, because I was feeling anything but prosperous. I was feeling quite broke and broken and lost and a failure, basically. It's like, wow, what has happened here? But I was walking down the street, and there's something about when you're in a sense of maybe desperation, or a sense of exasperation, or a sense of being so willing to try anything because you have great need, right? It's like nothing in life gets our attention more than when we have a great need, whether it be a health challenge, whether it be a financial challenge, whether it be a relationship challenge. Life has our attention in that moment, right? And so life had my attention, and there I was walking down the street. And I would be affirming, I am rich and prosperous, wealthy beyond measure. I am rich and prosperous, wealthy beyond measure. I am rich and prosperous, wealthy beyond measure. And then my steps would start to have more pep in them, because I was like, yes, I am rich and prosperous, wealthy beyond measure. I am rich and prosperous, wealthy beyond measure. And I wasn't saying it out loud, by the way. Might have gotten me a certain reputation, It's like, who is this guy? But in my mind, I was affirming this over and over again. And I would get myself into the consciousness of it. I would become that person who was rich and prosperous and wealthy beyond measure. And every fiber of my being felt that. Every fiber of my being felt that, so that there were basically every sense of doubt about that was gone for that moment. Right? There were other moments, right, where I went back into fear and doubt and all of that, but I would get myself, when I was doing the affirmations, into that consciousness, and therefore also I started to know what that consciousness was. The affirmations took me into an experience of what that consciousness was of being prosperous. Every time I got into that consciousness, there would be something that would happen. There would be some kind of demonstration that would happen. When I got myself powerfully into that consciousness, I would come home. That was in the days before voicemail, so I had this little answering machine. And I would come home, and I had put some feelers out for various things. I was looking for consulting gigs and that sort of thing. And when I got myself in that state of consciousness, every time I would come home and I would check the answering machine, and there would be something on the machine that said, we want you to do this, we want you to do that, there was some reply of some sort. And I started to think, wow, this teaching, there's something to this. Because I always believed in positive thinking. I always believed that being positive was a good thing. I always believed that our subconscious mind, is responsive, and we need to get ourselves in a positive frame of mind. I always believed at that level, but the level of that as I become something different in consciousness, that was going to have an impact on things out there. Right? That my life out in the world was going to change and shift based on my consciousness shifting. That was kind of like, that was a stretch. That was a stretch for me when I first came into the teaching. I certainly believed that as I got myself into a positive frame of mind, that I was going to show up in a better way, and I was going to be more successful just because I was being positive. But the idea that will be connected to anything else going on out there was a bit of a stretch for me. And of course now, knowing that all is one and all is connected and there is no separation, it's not a stretch at all. Of course, if all is one and all is connected, and I shift my consciousness and I shift how I'm showing up, of course, that's going to change everything in my experience. So gradually, little by little by little, Ernest Holmes is very clear, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme here. This is not a get-rich-quick teaching, right? That it's not like we start doing a few affirmations and suddenly, boom, right? But little by little, gradually, through our evolution, we start to step into a greater consciousness. And it was amazing, the transformation that took place in me. And there was a moment. There was a moment where I was lying on the couch at night. I was sleeping on the couch, and I don't remember the circumstances. I do remember I was married at the time, and somehow I ended up sleeping on the couch. I don't remember the circumstances of that. I'm going to assume that I just fell asleep out there. That I wasn't in any kind of trouble or anything. But anyway, I fell asleep on the couch, and I woke up about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And some of those old doubts and fears were popping in the middle of the night. Anyone have that, where you wake up in the middle of the night and you're in that fear place, that anxiety place, whatever? Some of those fears and doubts started to pop in. But through all the work I had done to that point, and all the study I had done, and all the practice I had done, and all the embodiment I had done of the prosperity teachings, they didn't really carry much weight with me anymore, even though they were coming through me, right? The fears, the doubts, the anxiety, it was coming through me. But I looked at them and I was like, I don't believe any of that anymore. All of these thoughts of lack and limitation, and what if this happens, and what if, it's like, I don't believe any of that. And so there was this moment in the middle of the night where I leaped up off of the couch, and I just started doing, I don't know if you remember, or even if they had them in this area or not, but there used to be these commercials for the lottery. And they would have people doing the lotto dance, right? And they would win the lottery, and they'd all be like, da, da, da. And so it was like several different people who won the lottery, and they'd all like have their dance because they'd be all excited about winning the lottery. Well, I was doing my lottery dance. At 3 or 4 in the morning, I'm doing my lottery dance. I'm like, I'm rich, I am rich. Because there was the awareness that even though my bank account didn't necessarily reflect that I was rich at that time, that the shift in consciousness made it a certain thing, made it absolutely sure that the prosperity was to follow. And it just was really clear in that moment when I saw my former doubts and fears and all of that coming in, and beliefs and lack, and I saw the lie that they were. And in that moment, it was like, I'm free. I'm free from that. I don't believe any of that anymore. I don't believe that there's things outside of me that are controlling my prosperity. I believe and know now that my prosperity comes from an infinite source within me, and that as I embody, the more of that I could embody, that my life is going to outpicture that. And it was just that moment in the middle of the night where it was so clear. And then my ex-wife woke up and she was like, what are you? And I'm like, we're rich. And she was like, this guy has lost his mind. But then she got it. She got what I was talking, because she was studying the teaching as well. So these affirmations that we do are about a becoming. They're not just about the rote repetition of some words. That probably will be minimally helpful. But as we start to say these words with conviction and faith and trust and knowing and intuitive, we tap into with our intuitive sense, and we say, you know what? Even though I'm not experiencing that yet, my intuition tells me it's true. My intuition tells me that this is true, even though my experience is not reflective of that yet. And therefore, since my intuition tells me it's true, I've got something to lean into. And then as I lean into it, and as I start to become it and embody it, and it starts to take life in me and have an energy in me and something moving in me, it starts to be reflected in my life. So these affirmations that we use are so powerful. And the thing is we're doing affirmations all day long, whether we realize it or not. And the only question is, what is it that we are affirming? Right? I love the one about aging, because it's so interesting how we as humans have all these different ways we could look at getting older. It's very fascinating to me. Right? Because for me, I've never thought of any limitation of getting older. I've always thought like, hey, I'm vibrant now, I'm going to be vibrant. That's just the way it's going to be. But every decade that I've gotten to, someone will tell me, oh, well, wait till you get to the, because they go like I was in my 20s, and they're like, oh yeah, well, wait till you get to your 30s. Oh man, it's all downhill from there. Got to my 30s, I'm like, no, I'm vibrant and, great. And they're like, yeah, well, wait till you get to your 40s. Got to my 40s, I'm like, hey, life is great. And you're like, yeah, well, someone will always come around and go, yeah, but wait till you get to your 50s. Got to my 50s. I'm like, life is great. They're like, yeah, but wait till you get to your 60s. Now, that's serious stuff there. Got to my 60s. I'm like, all life is good. Well, now, of course, there's someone around. Well, yeah, but wait till you get to your 70s. Do you think I'm going to believe that? It's been a lie every time. It's been a lie every time. Why would I believe it now? That somehow, no. It's all about how we look at it. What I think is funny is that when you're 25 and you go play sports, and then afterward you're hurting, you just go like, oh, wow, I really played hard today. When you're 50 for a lot of people, and you go play and you're hurting, you go, oh, I'm getting old. It's the same hurting, but we give it different meaning. It's the same hurting. If you watch the top athletes in the world, after they play their sport, they get in a thing of ice, and they're icing their mouth. They're hurting. So what meaning are you giving? Not what's happening, but what meaning are you giving to what's happening? Right? What meaning are you giving to what's happening? So I think I'll end with that. What meaning are you giving to what's happening? And give it the meaning that you want to give it. And take on these affirmations in such a way that you become that thing and recognize how powerful your word is, and speak your word regularly with authority and become that word. Become that word, and know that as you become that word, your life gets transformed and everything around you begins to conform to your word. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you all. Well, let's get the preliminaries out of the way. Is there someone available here to do our offering today? And I didn't even bring my iPad up here to do the thing. Oh, there we go. Ruth, of course. Ruth is here. Thank you, Ruth. So let's do our affirmation together. And I'm going to look up on the screen since my iPad is all the way down there. Let's say this together as we speak of affirmations, right? Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love, and so it is. Yes. I was getting a little carried away there. I was ready to just go for another hour, you know. I was like, oh wait, we're on a Wednesday. It's supposed to be a little more laid back. It's the way it is, though, when Spirit is moving in us. One of these days, I'm going to talk about energy, because that's another one of those things. People said to me when I was serving two different centers, I was serving Bakersfield and Antelope Valley, and I would drive 90 miles in between and do two services every Sunday. And someone said to me, well, now that you're in your 60s, do you feel like you don't have a lot of energy? And I said, well, let's see what my day looks like today. First I'm going to go and give a talk in Bakersfield. I'm going to drive 90 miles, give a talk in Antelope Valley. Then I'm going to drive another 70 miles and go dance on the beach in Venice Beach. Then I'm going to go out and have dinner, and then I'm going to go home. Does that sound like? It's like, what are we claiming? Yeah. So let's open up the floor for your experience with affirmations. I would love to hear your experience with affirmations. I would love to hear if you have questions about affirmations. And I would love to hear if you have a prayer request, because we can do that too. Cheryl.
Thanks. I have affirmation. I was laying on my bed before I was coming here just relaxing, and I looked up, and the three pictures we have are a seagull, the strand, and some beautiful palm trees. I thought, that was me. That was the lonely bird. And it just went across and then married my husband. It was just a beautiful story, a beautiful affirmation. That was what I wanted. I always remembering that's what I don't want some guy that doesn't have a job. I don't want some guy, this and that. And I had a whole list of guys I didn't want. But just knowing that I knew what I wanted was comforting. And it just made me happy all over in a positive way. So affirmations work. They totally work.
Thank you. All right, you heard it from Cheryl also. Thank you, Cheryl. David.
One of my affirmations is glory to greater glory. And you had Pauline do a testimony Sunday.
Yes.
That led me to do a testimony, well, to you, of course, but also Reverend Michael Facebooked me. I get up real early in the morning, 3:30, 4 o'clock, and he started asking me questions, how I've been doing and so forth. He asked me what I was doing for work. He then texted me and asked me if I want to increase my income. He has a plan for me. So so I said, yes, thank you, of course. And he hasn't got back to me yet, but things are happening.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Who else wants to share something, ask a question?
Real quick from online, Sydney Glass from the East Coast wanted to share an affirmation.
Nice.
I look with wonder at all the good before me.
I look with wonder at all the good before me. I love that. I love that. Let's hear some more of your affirmations. I'm loving this, hearing people's affirmations. What are some of your favorite affirmations, something you like to affirm? maybe when you first get up in the morning, or maybe all day long you're affirming something. Yes.
Could you pass this down so the people online can hear?
My name is Heather,
Heather, yes.
and I am a beautiful, wonderful, loving child of God.
I love it. I love it. Let's go around to everyone. Let's get everyone's voice in the room. And you can pass if you don't want to say anything, but let's start right up in the front. We'll go across, and if you want to pass, just pass the mic.
I am perfect, whole, and complete.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Diane.
I am Beverly, and show up, pay attention, and do the work. Be in the present moment and do the next right thing. I
love
say
it.
that often.
I love it. Thank you, Beverly.
I remind myself that everything is unfolding in perfect grace and ease. I love the grace and ease.
I love it, Ann. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I don't do affirmations. I've got nothing.
Well, what do you want to affirm today about your life? What do you want to say that you're now claiming for yourself?
I am blessed to be here. I'm enjoying it. I have everything I want.
Yes.
So I'm very happy.
I love it. Thank you. There you go. You got beautiful affirmations there.
I also do not do affirmations, so I'm sorry, I think I'll pass. But I'm a very positive person, and actually currently really trying to help some friends who are in trouble.
Beautiful. Thank you for being of service to people. That's beautiful.
You could go around back here, and then I'll
Yeah,
come back
let's
to the middle.
do it. Yeah, let's see if anyone else wants to share.
Catherine did a talk last Wednesday, I think, and I think it was Wednesday, but she shared something that she learned. I forgot who the author was, C-O-U-E or R.
QA.
Oh, something like that. And since then, I've been saying that phrase every day 20 times, which is every day, in every way, everything gets better and better. So that's my affirmation.
Thank you. That was through her mini talk on Sunday.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So that, but I wanted to share something else that happened to me way about 50 years ago, before I started knowing about the teachings. I used to have these nightmares every single night, ever since I was a child, of death impending. Okay, and it would paralyze me, and I could never sleep, and I would wake up bolted upright and everything, and I had all kinds of anxiety with it, but. A year earlier, somebody gave me a calendar, and it had quotes on it, and you would say the same thing every day for a month. But I don't even remember what the affirmation was. But I said whatever that affirmation was, I said it every day probably for a year or maybe 2. But one day, that same nightmare came to me, and during that nightmare, I said that affirmation. I surrendered to what was impending, and the nightmare disappeared.
Beautiful.
I cried and cried because it was a real transformation since I had that nightmare every day.
I love it. Thank you, Virginia.
35 years. Okay.
Thank you so
I don't
much.
remember what the affirmation was, but it worked.
Well, you're done with it. You're complete with it. You don't need it anymore. Thank you.
My name is Margie, and I've been saying, I am healthy, I am happy, I am prosperous, over and over about 5 years, and it has benefited me. And I thank you so much for being here. Also, I had a awakening like yesterday. I grew up in the Catholic Church, and Barry and my sisters are, and I met them yesterday because my daughter's going to be having surgery, and the church was doing prayers for people that are ill. And as I'm going up, I'm shaking a little bit because I used to be very active, and I was a substitute teacher, and I was very active and loving it. But the minute I walked in this church, I saw angels all up on the stage. I said, oh, stage. No, that isn't a stage to myself. That's like the rectory. No, what do they call it? And I was so impressed. I've been coming ever since, and I took a lot of classes in the 60s, 70s, 80s. That dates me. Yes, I'm older. But so I went yesterday with them to the church and the service, and coming out, they kept repeating the same mantra that I am healthy, happy, and prosperous.
I love it.
And it was on the microphone going all over the grounds.
I love it.
And I know what to say to people who are difficult. And I'm having a little challenge with my daughter because chemo's very hard on them. And she's a very strong woman, so I'm trying to naturally please, naturally be helpful, and try to do affirmations or whatever. And she is finally coming around a little, and I'm very blessed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Margie. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Leslie. It's my first time here. There's a YouTube channel called Wake Me Up, and I go there every morning to do 10 minutes of affirmations. They help you recite different types of affirmations. Some of my favorite to say are very basic, but I am intelligent, I am beautiful inside and out, I am strong, I am empowered, and I am abundant and prosperous.
I love that,
Yeah.
Leslie.
Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome. Thank you for being here today. All right, let's get a couple more people. I love it that all this great participation. Grant's coming down to get everyone.
A couple hands going up.
When I'm out running my errands, I always like to say, I'm going to find that perfect parking spot.
Yes,
I
yes.
like that one.
I'm Nancy, and my affirmation is I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, and I'm wise. And I'm 88 years old, and I don't get caught up in the age. I walk 4 to 5 miles every day, and the people in my neighborhood know me as the lady that always walks.
See, I'm listening to Nancy when she tells me I'm 88 and I'm not even thinking about it. That's who I'm listening to. Ah, yes. Well, thank you all for being here today. And let's see, do we have any prayer requests today? Let's end with some prayer. Are there any specific, I'm going to pray anyway, but are there any specific requests? Anything specifically you want me to keep in prayer, Beverly?
I'm still on my journey. So the prayer I would like is that I have energy. Since my surgery, my blood cells are needing help, and I am going to have a certain treatment that's been approved. But I love the idea of affirmations, and I talk to my biosuit every day. Honey, we have energy.
Yes.
But I would like to really have the awareness in the way of affirmations. Because this morning I went, well, she made the bed, whoever she is, me. You know, so I would like to be embracing the highest energy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Who else? Who else has what else should we include in prayer? David, and we'll go down to Diane.
My 15-year-old niece, her name is Lee. She's on a journey right now and in her second round of chemo. So I'd like prayer for her. Her name is Lee.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Let's go to Diane here.
We have a person in our Zoom thing with Reverend Mary. His name is Dave, and he had extensive surgery, and we're praying for his complete, total recovery.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Any final prayer requests before we go into prayer? All right. Well, I would include all of you anyway, so let's turn within for a moment here. Let's turn within to know that divine perfection that is ever unfolding in and through and as all of creation. And therefore, divine perfection is unfolding through me, and divine perfection is unfolding through each one here, and divine perfection is unfolding through each one that concerns us. And so I know for Lee that there is perfect healing, that there is a divine harmony that has never been touched by any of the circumstances or conditions of life or dis-ease, that there is a harmony that is an original harmony, and that harmony is reestablishing itself. I know this to be also the truth for David. I know it to be the truth for Dave. I know it to be the truth for every person who is experiencing anything with health, that there, for Beverly, that there is a divine energy, that there is a divine healing energy, a divine healing balm that is right now soothing, that is right now every cell, every fiber, every organ is right now being lifted up into that vibration of wholeness and harmony and love and joy and vitality. And so anything else is falling by the wayside, and this one energy, this one essence of wholeness and perfection is expressing at every level of our being. And so we have all the energy to heal, to be uplifted, to be free of anything that is unlike that original harmony. And so I know right now that the truth of our being is wholeness, that the truth of our being is harmony, that the truth of our being is love, that joy and vitality are finding their way through every aspect of our being. And we are lifted up in this moment, and everyone that concerns us is lifted up right here and right now. I am grateful for this truth. I am grateful for this awareness. I am grateful for the good that is right now unfolding, proceeding from these words, even as I speak them, touching and agreeing with each one here. I release it. I am grateful, so grateful for all of this truth and all that follows. I let it be, and we establish it together with the words, and so it is. Yes. Thank you all for being here. Blessings.